discover my girlfriend cheating in a video, confronted her at a restaurant, then vanished. Betrayal is a bitter pill to swallow, but sometimes the way you discover the truth makes it even worse. I thought my girlfriend, Emily, and I had a solid relationship. We had been together for 3 years, and I believed she was my future. I had even started looking at engagement rings, planning the perfect proposal. Then one night, everything shattered in an instant. I received a message from an unknown number with a video attached. The sender's message was simple: "You need to see this." Curious but unsuspecting, I played the video. What I saw made my blood run cold. Emily was at a party, sitting in another man's lap, kissing him as if I had never existed. The worst part? This video was taken just 2 days ago, while she had told me she was out with friends. I knew I had to do something, but I wanted to make it unforgettable. Emily and I had been together for 3 years, and from the outside, our relationship looked perfect. We lived together in a cozy apartment, went on vacations, and supported each other's dreams. I worked in IT, and she was an aspiring journalist. We shared inside jokes, favorite TV shows, and late-night talks that made me believe she was my soulmate. Over the years, I had never suspected anything. She was affectionate, always making time for me despite her busy schedule. She would text me throughout the day, reminding me how much she loved me. That is why when she started acting a little distant a few months ago, I assumed it was just work stress. She would come home later than usual, claiming she had extra assignments. Some nights, she said she was meeting up with her girlfriends. It never crossed my mind that something was wrong. I was even planning to propose. I had already started looking at engagement rings, imagining the perfect way to pop the question. I wanted it to be a moment she would remember forever. Little did I know, the moment I would always remember would be the one that shattered everything. That fateful night, I was at home, relaxing after a long day at work, when my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number with a video attached. At first, I thought it was spam or a wrong number, but curiosity got the best of me. I clicked on the video, and my heart nearly stopped. Emily was at a party, sitting on another man's lap, kissing him passionately. The way she looked at him, so comfortable, so familiar, it was as if she had been with him for years. I watched in disbelief as she leaned into his ear, whispering something that made him laugh. That was when I realized this was not a one-time mistake. This was something deeper, something she had been hiding for who knows how long. And she had no idea that I knew. Looking back, there were subtle red flags that I had ignored. Emily had always been outgoing, but over the last few months, her behavior had shifted in ways I had brushed off as harmless. She started dressing up more often, even on nights she claimed were just casual hangouts with her friends. She would spend extra time on her hair and makeup, wearing perfume she never wore around me. When I jokingly asked if she was trying to impress someone, she laughed and called me silly. Then there was her phone. Emily used to be open about it. She would leave it lying around, and I could use it if I needed to check something. But suddenly, it was always in her hand, face down or locked with a passcode I did not know. Whenever she got a message, she would glance at her screen quickly before tucking it away. If I asked who texted, she would casually say, "Just Sarah," or another friend's name. Our intimacy had changed, too. She was more distracted, sometimes distant. When I asked if something was wrong, she insisted everything was fine. I did not want to be the paranoid boyfriend who accused his girlfriend without proof, so I let it go. Then there were the girls' nights. At first, they happened once or twice a month, but then they became more frequent. I had no reason to doubt her until one night, when her best friend, Sarah, casually mentioned that she had not seen Emily in weeks. When I asked about the last girls' night Emily had, Sarah looked confused. That was when a seed of doubt was planted in my mind, but I still told myself it was nothing. Now, with the video staring back at me, all those moments made sense. She had been lying, sneaking around behind my back. My stomach churned with anger and heartbreak. But instead of confronting her immediately, I decided to do something different. I needed a plan. I needed to make sure that when I confronted her, she would never forget it. I spent the next few hours re-watching the video, making sure I was not misinterpreting what I saw. But there was no room for doubt. Emily was in it, clear as day, laughing, touching, and kissing another man in a dimly lit bar. Someone had recorded them from a distance, and judging by the angle, they had no idea they were being filmed. I had received the video from an unknown number. There was no message, no explanation, just the footage. I tried to trace the number, but it was a burner impossible to track. Whoever sent it wanted me to know the truth, without revealing their identity. At first, I felt frozen, like my brain could not process what my eyes had seen. Then the emotions hit: anger, betrayal, heartbreak. The woman I had loved, the one I had planned a future with, had been lying to me all along. But I refused to act on pure emotion. If I confronted Emily at home, she would deny everything, twist the story, and try to manipulate me. I needed to make sure she had nowhere to run. That was when I came up with the perfect plan. Instead of telling Emily I knew, I started observing her more closely. I wanted to see if she would slip up, if she would show any guilt, but she acted completely normal. Kissing me goodbye before work, texting me as if nothing had changed, planning dates like everything was fine. It was like watching a stranger pretending to be the woman I loved. I decided to dig deeper. If she had been careless enough to get caught on video, there had to be more. First, I checked her social media. She had always been careful about what she posted, but I noticed something odd. There were gaps in her posts. Nights when she claimed to be with friends but had no photos to back it up. In the past, she would flood her stories with pictures, but now, there were barely any updates from her girls' nights. Then, I checked our shared laptop. She was usually good at covering her tracks, but she must have gotten lazy or overconfident. In her search history, I found bookings for restaurants I had never been to with her, movie tickets I did not recognize, and even a hotel reservation from 2 months ago. But the final piece of proof came when I found her old phone tucked away in a drawer. I charged it, turned it on, and checked the messages. There was months of text with a man named Ryan. Their conversations were flirtatious at first, then downright explicit. They talked about sneaking around, about how thrilling it was to not get caught. My stomach twisted as I read messages where she complained about me, calling me boring, saying she felt trapped, saying she wished she could be with Ryan openly. The messages confirmed what I already knew. This was not just a one-time mistake. She had been betraying me for months, all while pretending to love me. That was when I decided how I would expose her. Instead of confronting her at home, I planned something more public, more humiliating. I wanted her to feel the same shock and betrayal I had felt. Emily had made dinner reservations for us that Saturday night at a nice restaurant. She said it was to spend quality time together. But I knew the truth. She was only keeping up appearances, making sure I stayed clueless. I played along, acted like nothing was wrong. That entire day, I treated her like normal. If she had any idea I was on to her, she did not show it. She laughed, kissed me, held my hand, just like she always did. It made my skin crawl. Before we left for dinner, I made sure everything was in place. I had printed out the incriminating texts, screenshots of her hotel booking, and even the still frames from the video. I put them all in a neat folder. Then, I invited a few of our close mutual friends to surprise her at the restaurant, telling them I had a special announcement. Emily had no clue that tonight would change her life forever. As we arrived at the restaurant, Emily was in high spirits. She dressed up, wore her favorite perfume, and acted as if nothing was wrong. If I had not known the truth, I would have thought she was a perfect girlfriend. We were seated in a quiet corner of the restaurant, away from most of the crowd. I could see her scanning the room, making sure we were alone, probably relieved that she did not spot anyone she knew. I let her order her favorite wine. I watched as she smiled, completely unaware of what was coming. Then, just as the waiter poured the wine into her glass, our mutual friend arrived. Emily's face changed instantly. She was surprised, but quickly masked it with a smile. "Oh, what a surprise," she said, laughing nervously. "What are you all doing here?" I leaned back in my chair, acting casual. I thought it would be nice to have them here for a special moment. She looked confused, but kept smiling, trying to play along. "Special moment? What do you mean?" I reached into my bag and pulled out the folder. I placed it on the table, right in front of her. "Why don't you open this? It will explain everything." Her smile faltered. She hesitated, glancing at our friends, who were now watching with curiosity. I could see the uncertainty creeping into her expression. She slowly opened the folder and pulled out the first page, the still frames from the video. Her face went pale. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. She saw the screenshots of the texts, the hotel bookings, the proof of her betrayal. I could hear her breathing quicken. "W, where did you get this?" she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. I tilted my head, pretending to think. "Oh, the universe has a funny way of revealing the truth." I sipped my drink slowly, enjoying the moment. Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape. "This is not what it looks like," she said, her voice shaking. "Oh, so you did not kiss him? You did not meet him in a hotel? You did not call me boring and trapping you while sneaking around with Ryan?" Her lips parted, but no words came out. She had no way to deny it. One of our friends, Lisa, who had been closest to Emily, gasped. "Emily, what the hell is this?" Another friend, Jason, shook his head. "You've been lying to us this whole time?" The weight of the situation was crashing down on her. I could see her hands gripping the table, her knuckles turning white. I can explain," she whispered, but I was not done yet. I pulled out my phone and pressed play. The video, the one that had been sent to me, started playing loudly. People at the nearby tables turned their heads, their curiosity piqued by the sudden sound of voices and laughter. The video showed Emily with Ryan, wrapped around each other, completely oblivious to the world. Emily's face turned red with shame. "Turn it off," she hissed, reaching for my phone. I pulled it back. Why? You were proud enough to do it. Why not watch it? She looked around in panic. The restaurant staff was watching now. Strangers were whispering, their eyes flickering between the video and Emily's humiliated expression. Tears welled up in her eyes. Please, she begged. Not here. I leaned forward, lowering my voice so only she could hear. You did not care about humiliating me when you cheated, so why should I care now? She was shaking. I made a mistake, she whispered. I was stupid. I still love you, please. I scoffed. Love? You do not betray people you love. I stood up and placed one final item on the table, an envelope. Inside were legal documents. Her hands shook as she picked it up. She opened it and her breath hitched. What? I knew I could never trust you again, I said. So I already made arrangements. I am leaving. I packed my things while you were at work. My name is off the lease. The apartment is yours to deal with. Goodbye, Emily. Her mouth opened and closed like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. I turned to my friends. Anyone want to stay for dinner? I hear the steak here is great. Lisa and Jason immediately stood up, leaving Emily alone at the table, frozen in shock. As I walked out of the restaurant, I could hear her crying behind me, but I did not look back. Walking out of that restaurant felt like shedding a heavy weight I had unknowingly carried for months. The air outside was crisp, refreshing, a contrast to the suffocating tension that had filled the room just moments ago. I could still hear the murmurs of people inside, the soft sobs of Emily as she realized everything she had lost. But I did not care. Lisa and Jason caught up with me outside, still processing what had just happened. Dude, that was brutal, Jason said, shaking his head. I mean, she deserved it, but damn. Lisa sighed, crossing her arms. She played herself. I cannot believe she had the audacity to lie to us all this time. And poor you, having to find out like that. I shrugged. Honestly, I am just glad it is over. We decided to grab dinner elsewhere, far away from that scene. Over the meal, we talked. Not just about Emily, but about other things that reminded me I still had a life beyond that relationship. My friends reminded me that I was not alone, that I had people who truly cared about me. That night, as I lay in bed in my new apartment, a place I had quietly secured in advance, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Peace. It did not take long for word to spread. Our mutual friends, co-workers, even acquaintances who barely knew us heard about what had happened. Emily tried to do damage control, but the truth was already out. Her image as a sweet, devoted girlfriend was shattered. Lisa, who had been her closest friend, cut her off completely. I cannot trust someone like that, she told me. If she could betray you, she could betray anyone. Her social circle shrank rapidly. People distanced themselves, not wanting to associate with a known cheater. She could not go anywhere without being reminded of what she had done. Ryan, the guy she had cheated with, ghosted her soon after. Whether it was because he had never actually cared or because he did not want to deal with the fallout, I did not know. But she lost him too. And then, to make matters worse for her, she lost her job. Emily worked in a professional environment where reputation mattered. Someone, maybe a co-worker, maybe a client, found out about the scandal and shared it discreetly. Suddenly, her credibility was in question. People whispered. Her boss, an old-school, no-nonsense type, was not pleased. One day, I heard through a mutual connection that she had been let go. She did it to herself, Lisa said when she told me. Actions have consequences. While Emily's life fell apart, mine was getting better. For the first time in years, I focused entirely on myself. I reconnected with old hobbies, traveled, spent more time with friends, and even started dating again when I felt ready. It was not easy. There were still moments when I thought about what had happened, moments when anger and hurt resurfaced. But those moments became fewer as time passed. One evening, months later, I ran into Emily. She looked different, tired, worn down, as if life had drained the energy out of her. She hesitated before approaching me. I just wanted to say I am sorry, she said, her voice small. I ruined everything. I met her gaze, but I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no longing, just indifference. I know, I replied simply. She nodded, as if she had expected nothing more. Then she walked away. And that was the last time I ever saw her. I turned and walked in the opposite direction, not looking back. And that was when I truly knew I had won. Betrayal is painful, but it is also revealing. It shows you who people truly are, who is worth keeping in your life, and who is not. Emily thought she could get away with her lies, but the truth has a way of surfacing. And when it did, she lost everything, while I walked away with my dignity intact. If there is one thing I have learned, it is this. Never let someone else's betrayal define you. Instead, let it fuel your growth. And in the end, nothing is more satisfying than knowing that you moved on, while they're left dealing with the wreckage they created. Have you ever experienced betrayal or witnessed someone get what they deserved? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the story, make sure to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you never miss another one.